Discover the heart of our history at the Hidden History Museum in Los Angeles. Now open with new weekend hours, Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Located at 2131 West Jefferson Boulevard in Los Angeles, our museum showcases the brilliance and ingenuity of foundational Black American culture, along with the richness of global Black culture. Come in, explore our displays, and shop for books, films, and other unique items that celebrate our legacy. Also, be sure to look out for our popular special events. For more information, visit hiddenhistorymuseum.com.
Tonight, root work tonight, root work tonight, root work tonight. I'll be feeling so right. I got that root work tonight. Feeling fresh from the morning light. Root work hit me, I'm set for the night. Look good, smell right. Yeah, I'm that type. I gotta let the world know I got that root work tonight. Root work tonight. Yeah, root work tonight. I'll be feeling so right. I got that root work tonight.
Boom, there it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the building. We all up in here, ready to chop it up with you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm letting everybody know that we're live right now. Y'all hop on in. Hold on. Just letting everybody know that I'm live. All right, how y'all doing, man? We here. I'm relatively on time today. I ain't as late as I'm usually. But I'm in here, ladies and gentlemen, waiting on everybody to come on in. Everybody give me a nice retweet on Twitter. Let everybody know that we're live right now. Give me a nice retweet on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm posting everything on all my other social medias. But let everybody know that we're live right now, folks. Glad to have everybody tuning in. We're going to do what we do. You know what's funny? It's still daylight outside out here in LA. It is still daylight right now. It feels weird. I'm not used to doing my live broadcast on Sunday when the sun is still out. But nevertheless, we're in the building. Before we get started, let me shout out some of the people in the chat. Let me shout out some of my mods that I see so far. I see Nikki the God in the building. I see Coco Butterfly in the building. Waiting on more of my mods to come on in here. Oh, man, a lot of stuff we got to get into. Yes, I'm live. I am live. DJ Freaknik in the building. Everybody give me a retweet. Let everybody know that we're in the building, ladies and gentlemen. I know some people might not be getting the notifications. That's why people are slowly coming on in here. That's why I need you to retweet. A lot of people are not getting the notifications. That's okay. That's okay. That's why I need everybody to give me a retweet, ladies and gentlemen. Just give me that fly retweet, and we will be good to go, ladies and gentlemen. All right, hold on one second. Just get my stuff together over here. And don't forget to get your Rootwork deodorant at rootworkstyle.com. Rootworkstyle.com. I got to check Amazon. We out of the Rootwork on Amazon. I got to check and restock on Amazon. It sells out very, very quickly. The Rootwork sells out extremely quickly on Amazon. But we're waiting on everybody to get on in here. We're waiting on everybody to come on in so we can get into what we got to get into. Also, my brother Reza Islam, he has an event coming up out here in LA on May 2nd. Y'all check out my good brother Reza Islam. May 2nd out here in Compton. He's doing a lecture. They're going to be chopping up some real good game. That's going to be May 2nd, Friday, May 2nd. Y'all go to rezaislam.com for more information on that. rezaislam.com. And they're going to be talking about a lot of scientific things. I can't even say them here, but check out my brother's event. You don't want to miss that. That's May 2nd, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, people are still talking about Shador Sanders being drafted to the Browns. Cleveland Browns drafted him. People are still talking about that. People are also talking about a situation where there was a prank call, an alleged prank call. And the prank call was from the son of, was it an NFL coach in Atlanta? It was the son of a coach in Atlanta, of I think the Falcons. And I posted up the video of these guys making a prank call to Shador Sanders when he was waiting on the draft. He was waiting on the draft call, and they called him doing some goofy trolling. And Brother Shador was like, hey, only a couple of people have that number. That's not a number that the general public would have. Jeff Ulbridge, yeah, his son, Jax Ulbridge, was the one who made the call. He's the defense coach of Atlanta. Okay. So, yeah, it did happen. I'm saying alleged, but it did happen. So his son, Jax, was the one who got the number. Everybody knew it had to be an inside job. And again, we know that the way they were stalling Shador out, it sounded like the league behind closed doors, they were on some collusion thing. And let me show y'all the video of the actual prank call. Let me actually show the video of that. This is the prank call. Hold on one second. Because they know the world was on pins and needles waiting to see what was going on with Shador. Everybody was waiting to see where Shador was going. That was the main thing. He was the main event. That's why they were dragging it out, and they pushed him down to the 5th draft. Hold on.
Hey, is this Shador? Hey, this is Mickey Loomis here, the GM of the New Orleans Saints. How you doing? This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
It's must be nothing there.
Hey, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that. Hey, is this Shador?
Yeah. Okay. So these are the kind of cats who call into our broadcasts. Lame as hell, goofy, corny, mad. Black Daddy is getting all the shine, mad, corny as hell. So yeah, that was they recorded it, and now Jax, he's been splaining. I'm so sorry, dude. You're just goofy, lame. And, the interesting thing is this. All the other white supremacists are splaining for these dudes. They're splaining for them. They're running around here saying, well, yeah, there was a harmless prank. Yeah, because I posted it and I said, hey, some folks alleged to be suspected white supremacists made a troll call. Oh, God, why bring race into it, Tariq? Why do you bring race into it? It's just kids doing harmless pranks. It's always an innocent thing with them. All the white supremacists are splaining for them. Listen, they're making them into babies. Oh, they're just kids. They're doing what kids do. These are frat boys. Oh, kids. These are not kids. These are grown, goofy-ass men. Sounds like some insiders at the NFL was in on it. The narrative was that Jax looked at his dad's iPad, and it had Shador's number on it. And unbeknownst to his dad, he got the number. I don't believe that. I believe they were sitting around here colluding, being slick behind the scenes. Yeah. I believe they were being slick. They were passing the number around, and they were just doing real slick-ass stuff behind the scenes just to be antagonistic. It wasn't even funny. That's the thing with the white supremacist suspect trolls. It's never funny. It's really the lamer it is, I guess the more entertaining it is to them. It's never funny. That's lame as hell. Listen, this wasn't harmless. They keep trying to say it's, just harmless. Doing a move like that isn't harmless, because what you do, the draft is a critical, life-changing moment for a player. And doing all that trolling, goofy nonsense, that throws off your emotional state, and that affects negotiations. So when somebody else calls, you don't know if it's the real deal. You might not take it as serious. It's not harmless. Not only is it not harmless, that's really a violation of private and confidential information. The fact that they're passing this stuff around to each other, this number that nobody else has. Remember, Shador got that phone just for that. It wasn't even in his name, so they couldn't use the excuse where some angry fan, no, they couldn't do that. It was an inside job. That was an inside job. So that you're breaching personal information. You violating confidential and personal private information. That's a serious breach of trust. That's a breach of security. And that highlights how easily black players' private info can be mishandled and weaponized. You understand what I'm saying? Also, that undermines trust in the draft process. If black players, if you can't trust that calls they receive on draft day are legitimate, that paints the seeds of mistrust in the entire NFL. You see? So that affects how players actually respond to real opportunities. Yeah? And there's racial undertones to it, the public mockery, there's racial undertones to it. Because, history shows, listen, when young black men achieve something monumental, certain people in the dominant society, they look for ways to kind of diminish it with pranks, ridicule, public embarrassment, so they can kind of reinforce power dynamics. You see, it's never harmless. It's never harmless. And it sets a precedent for future disrespect. See, you normalize something like this, that opens the door for other types of trolling, hazing, harassment, targeting black athletes who are already targeted by some of these crazed, deranged fans. You understand? So when you got insiders doing that type of nonsense, it's not harmless. Because listen, let me tell you something. Let the son of a black coach did that, they wouldn't say it was harmless. It would be the next Watergate scandal. If a black coach from a major NFL team let his son get the number of a draft potential who was white and you're calling up trolling on draft day, it would be Watergate. That coach would be fired. There would be an investigation. There would be a media smear campaign. There would be character assassination. That black employee's whole history would be dug up, put on TV. They would be blackballed from the industry. There would be legal threats. The NFL would threaten lawsuits, criminal charges, harassment, tampering. You're compromising the integrity of the draft. All of that. Well, you hear it'll get real serious then. It wouldn't be all frat boys, wonk, wonk, honk. It wouldn't be that frat boys just having fun. Oh boy, they'll have deep discussions. They'll have congressional hearings on the shit if it was some black folks doing it. Oh, there'll be executive orders and all types of stuff going on if some black folks did some shit like that. Oh, black culture. Oh my God. Oh, see, this is black single mothers and black culture. We'd all be blamed for it. Oh, all of us, black society would be, it's rap music, all single mothers, oh, welfare, crack, all the blacks. Look at them. So miss me with that it was harmless nonsense. Not gonna do that. We do not play those games. It wasn't harmless, and there should be a reprimand, but like I said in my book, white youths, they don't get punished under no circumstances. Even if they go shoot up a school, they really don't get punished. He shot the school up, but he didn't get a hug when he was 7. He didn't get a hug. He was going through an emotional trauma. So we can't really blame him. His mother was pregnant with certain drugs that were recalled, and that affected his neurological system. Whatever. Yeah? We got to hear all that nonsense. But everybody come on in the room. We need everybody in here. Because we got to talk about the movie. Shout out to everybody in here. Retweet. Everybody give me a retweet. Give me a retweet. Got to talk about the movie Sinners. Let me pull up some numbers on Sinners right now. Let me pull up some of the numbers on Sinners. Hold on. So Sinners is doing phenomenal right now. What's the total box office? Let me go to IMDb. Where's IMDb? So yeah, the weekend numbers are coming in. IMDb. Let's look at them weekend numbers. Where are the weekend numbers? So yeah, so far, let me go to IMDb. Let me look at the final numbers. What's it saying? Come on, man. What's it saying? Okay, so let me go to IMDb. That's the Bible of the industry to a certain degree. IMDb is saying, hold on, let's look at these numbers now because the numbers are growing and growing and growing. So right now, it towered over the box office again, scoring a mighty $45 million in its second weekend. Ticket sales only declined a mere 6% from its $48 million start last week. That's phenomenal. That's a rare film. And so far, it has grossed worldwide $161 million with a budget of $90 million. So it has made its money back. And it's basically going to make its marketing budget back as well. So this movie is going to turn a profit. Remember when the trades last week were saying, yeah, the movie, it opened strong, but will it really make a profit? They were saying all of that stuff last week. Now, the next weekend made damn near what it made the first weekend, which is damn near unheard of. That's very rare. So this movie is killing the game right now. I'm very, very proud of our good brother, Ryan Coogler. Did a phenomenal job. So let's get into it, man. Why is the movie doing so phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen? Why is this movie killing the game? Why is it doing so phenomenal right now? Well, number one, it's the originality of the movie in a dried out market. Listen, right now, Hollywood has really become oversaturated with a lot of reboots, sequels, franchise films. You dig? So it's a fresh look. It's a fresh thing. So Sinners, it's giving you an original story blending horror, social commentary. It has emotional depth. And it's refreshing. It's a refreshing looking film. So that's the great thing about it. You know, it's not Transformers 15. No disrespect to Transformers. It's not the Avengers Part 12. It's fresh. Also, the cultural and historic resonance of the film. You know, the film is set with a backdrop of Jim Crow. It connects horror to real historic terror. And it taps into that deep collective memory and trauma that feels timely and hauntingly relevant, you see. And there's a lot of layered symbolism in the movie. See, it's just not a horror movie just for horror's sake. It's just not random, strange killings and blood and gore and all of that stuff. See, it uses vampires, religious metaphors, spiritual symbolisms to basically explore survival. You're exploring sin, redemption. So there's a lot of deep meanings in the film. So it gives the audience more to unpack and to give them more to discuss, and making the film linger in the mind. So it was done in a very smart way. It's not just gratuitous blood and gore for the sake of blood and gore and gratuitous sex. Now, another thing folks don't notice, I'm not giving no spoilers whatsoever. I'm not giving any spoilers. And I've been wanting to see it again. I've just been busy at the museum. I'm going to go see it again this week. Everybody go see it again. Keep those numbers up with the movie. Here's another thing. The film, a lot of folks don't catch this because there were like sexual references in the film. Even, quote, sex scenes in the film. But if you notice, it was done by you using your imagination. There was zero nudity in the movie. Zero. Think about it. Even though there were some explicit sexual references with some of the characters, like one dude went down on a woman and, it was a few, but you never saw nudity. There was zero nudity. It was left to your imagination, which was brilliant. Because I was talking to my lady and we were talking about, I wanted to go see the movie again, and we're talking about taking the kids. And she's like, "Oh no, it was too much sexual stuff." And I'm like, "No, not really, because they didn't show nudity. They didn't show no nudity in the film." Yeah, the scenes weren't too explicit. You see, that was very refreshing. It didn't need it. It didn't need it. So you got to use your imagination, so it was done in a very tasteful, classy way. Yeah, the language was more explicit. Yeah, and that shows good acting when the actors are so good with their words and their vocabulary. You think you saw something that you saw, but you didn't, because they painted the picture in your brain for you. Yeah. And the thing is, the movie had strong representation without pandering. You see, the film centers Black characters and foundational Black American history without feeling like a diversity checklist movie. You see, it wasn't watered down. There were actually people like Latinos complaining they weren't represented, which they weren't around in the Mississippi Delta at that time. I don't know what they're complaining about. Why are Latinos complaining about this movie? You weren't around during that time. Not in no Mississippi Delta. Because the Asians, there were some Asians down there, so I'm glad. I like the way they tied Asians in there. And I talked about this on the last review. The Asians was in there. Remember, people got hemmed up because of the Asian lady in the film. The Asian lady had everybody get hemmed up, running her damn mouth. Also, our brother strategically wove in the Asians in the storyline, because that's a way, family, just from a marketing standpoint, and I think that's very smart, you can sell the movie overseas, because they always say things about Black movies not translating overseas, especially in the Asian market. That Asian market is the big market. By him incorporating Asians, there were some there, incorporating them in the story and doing it in a real fly way where it's not being crowbarred in there. You tap into that international market. So from a marketing standpoint, that was smart. Yeah. And it was gender fusion, genre fusion, I'm sorry. And that's another thing. They didn't have nobody popping bussy in there, none of that stuff. Because you didn't need to. You didn't need to crowbar stuff like that in there. The genres were fused in a right way. It blended horror, drama, suspense, even musical elements in there masterfully. So it was multi-layered, and the gender fusion, it created an emotional roller coaster that basically kept audiences engaged rather than confined to one emotional tone. Just a beautifully done movie. And you know what's funny? When I went to see it, I didn't even know it was a vampire movie. I didn't even know, because I didn't see the trailer first. You know, I just like a lot of the actors and I like the directors. So I'm like, I'm gonna go see this on GP. So I didn't know what to expect, which was good. I didn't know what to expect, which was great, because I'm like on pins and needles, like what's going to happen? What's going on? What are these people doing? Y'all give me a retweet. Somebody said I'm shadow banned. Give me a retweet. And again, Ryan, the movie is doing great right now because of our brother Ryan Coogler's his vision, his reputation. He's a trusted filmmaker, and he respects the intelligence of the audience. That's very important. When you don't pander to your audience, when you don't try to dumb your audience down, you can respect their intelligence and do things and expect them to follow your vision. And he did a very great, thoughtful, artful, and impactful piece of art. And the audience can respect that. And also there was a powerful word of mouth. See, the second week dropped only 6%. That's almost unheard of. So that means audience who saw it, you know, they felt compelled to tell others about it, and then they went to see it again. And the film was just visually stunning. It looked good. It's emotionally grounded. The cinematography was top-notch. The performances, very emotional performances, phenomenal. So it connected with audiences. And it made the horror feel personal. It was what I like. It didn't just go crazy with a bunch of gratuitous violence. It was a lot of great character development. You got to learn the characters. You got to learn the characters. You got to know who they are. You got to learn who they are. You became emotionally invested in the characters. And that was a great thing. Another thing, he tapped into the metaphysical hunger. See, people want deeper stuff right now. People want to know, you know, they got deeper questions about life, death, justice, spirituality. And the Sinners movie gave a metaphysical story in the form of entertainment, but it was a deep ass story when you look at all the layers and the symbolisms in it. And it was like a subtle rebellion against the Hollywood norms, you know, by succeeding wildly as an original Black-centered non-franchise film. You know, this film, it goes against the norm. So audiences, younger and socially conscious ones, they want to be a part of that movement, you see. And the great thing about our brother, Ryan Coogler, if you look at the film, you can see that it's a love letter to foundational Black American culture. And our good brother, Ryan Coogler, he's been doing several interviews specifically mentioning foundational Black American, and he self-identifies as a foundational Black American. You understand? Let me play some of the clips, or one of the clips. I ain't gonna play too many, I don't want to get a strike, but let me play one of the clips of our good brother Ryan Coogler. He was on Democracy Now!, shouting out his foundational Black American lineage. Hold on, let me play this. Let me play this real quick. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Hold on.
This movie was a very interesting opportunity for me to do some research about my lineage. And I had that opportunity before with the Panther films. And in that situation, you know, me being a foundational Black American, you know, my family has been here, you know, for over 400 years, essentially, you know, in North America. But you know, the Panther films allowed me to travel back to the continent of Africa and spend time there and you know, and contemplate our distant ancestry.
There you go. So yeah, our brother's really giving it up, and he's done a couple of interviews mentioning foundational Black American culture. So brother's giving it up, and he's paying homage to it. You see, so he's killing the game right now. FBA all day. Understand? Yeah, there's a couple of interviews where he mentioned foundational Black American culture. Mm-hmm. But listen, family, and I saw another interview he did on the Breakfast Club. He was talking about how he kind of had an epiphany when he was down south and he saw a cotton field and he was thinking about his immediate Black ancestry. And he felt guilty by not acknowledging his immediate Black ancestry. Yeah? And listen. It's very spiritually important for foundational Black Americans or any group to acknowledge your direct ancestors. Yeah. Oh yeah, I heard Strappy and Tone Tits, I heard they out here punching air. Yeah, a lot of folks are very, very mad, but it's okay. It's okay. This is a new paradigm shift, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new paradigm shift. Listen. Our brother Ryan Coogler understood why it's so important to acknowledge your immediate ancestry here on this soil. Oh yeah, brother Ryan is very tapped in. You know we tapped in over here. When we talk, how long we've been promoting root work, and they were doing root work in hoodoo in the film, and they were doing that in the film. I've been telling people how significant that is, and root work, hoodoo, conjure, all of that is to foundational Black American culture. We have our own deep-rooted culture, ladies and gentlemen, and we have to respect it, and we have to give honor to it. And here's the thing, listen. It's spiritually important for foundational Black Americans to remember your direct ancestors, because we've been sitting up here giving all of our accolades and energy to Africa, which is cool to a certain degree, but we've given way too much and we've ignored the direct ancestors here who sacrificed for us the most. See, that's a mistake that we've been making. Not only that, we've been sitting up here giving props to a certain ancestry in West Africa who actually sold us the hell out, if we're going to get real. We're up here giving praises and accolades to folks, to certain tribes who done flipped on our ass. They sold us, and we're sitting up here giving that props. We got to be real. That's why we got to make a real assessment. You understand? We're up here giving our spiritual power to the folks who sold our asses out. See, that's why right now there's a delineation movement. Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. That's part of the delineation movement. This movie centers part of the delineation movement. Yeah? We got to be rooted in our direct ancestors on our own land here. And that's very important, family. That's where you're going to get your strength from. I've been trying to tell people this. This is where you're going to get your strength from. We can't ignore our immediate ancestors here who did the most sacrificing for us. They had us in mind. Shout out to Mini FBA for the super chat. Much love and respect to you. I saw a tether on Twitter, one of these Pan-African tethers, and a lot of folks are upset that we're looking at our lineage here. And one tether was like, man, ancestry is ancestry. Ain't no cutoff from, we got African ancestry. We need to give props to our African ancestors. Ain't no cutoff from ancestors. The hell it ain't. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yeah, there's some ancestors we can cut off. The way they cut our asses off. Yeah, the ancestors, quote unquote, who sold us off, and before they sold us off, made us walk around the tree of forgetfulness. Remember? There was a tribe over there. I think it was the homie tribe. It was one of them. Yeah, they captured us, sold us to the Europeans, and before they sold us, they made us walk around the tree of forgetfulness so we wouldn't remember the little janky shit they did. Yeah, we can cut them off. Oh, yeah, we can cut them off. Oh, yes, we can. All ancestors ain't good ancestors. Yeah? All ancestors ain't good ancestors. The ones here, they never did no shit like that. They never did that. Our ancestors on this land, they didn't do all that little janky stuff. It was the Dahomey, right? Come on. Did nobody come get us? Huh? Come on now. Well, listen. This is why it's spiritually important for foundational Black Americans, again, to recognize and acknowledge your direct ancestors. Because ancestors, family, the ancestors are living energy. You see, in many spiritual traditions, ancestors are not dead. Their struggles, their wisdom, their victories, that creates energetic pathways that the descendants can still tap in today for strength, intuition, and survival. So that ancestral energy is alive, and it becomes more energized when we acknowledge it and respect it. See, when we acknowledge our ancestors, that anchors our identity. You understand? When we acknowledge our direct ancestors, not just broad Africans or broad people of color, because we're sitting up here giving props to all of Africa. There's motherfuckers over there who hate our damn guts. And I'm not giving props to Myron Gaines' family in Sudan. I ain't giving none of my damn spiritual energy to that musty tether and his janky ass family. These people come over here and hate our guts and do everything they can to undermine us. I'm not giving them none of my energy. You understand what I'm saying? And when you are respecting your direct ancestors, that roots you into a specific, unbroken cultural and historic spiritual lineage. So that it gives you a name, narrative, and a purpose. You see? That's why there's been so much strength from us acknowledging and naming our own lineage, foundational Black American. That's a very powerful thing to do. It's a powerful name. Because, spiritual authority flowed through the bloodlines of our ancestors. Our direct ancestors on this land, they suffered, they fought, they loved, they built for us. They had us in mind, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't do that tree of forgetfulness bullshit. These people were sitting up here thinking about, okay, I'm going to sacrifice so that my progeny, so that they can survive, so that they don't have to suffer what I have to suffer. So I'm going to endure this. And I'm going to tap into my spiritual essence and then gift them that spiritual essence. So when we honor them, we inherit their spiritual authority. So that authority to succeed, to create, to resist, that's where we get our strength from. Now, when we deny them that, we start cutting ourselves off from that inherited power. You see? So our foundational Black American family did all this great stuff for us, not no other people. Again, we've been giving our energy and our accolades to the wrong folks. Come on, we got to be real. When we acknowledge our foundational Black American ancestors and what they've done, that helps heal that ancestral trauma. Because we carry these emotional and ancestral scars from slavery and Jim Crow. So when we honor those ancestors, that helps us spiritually cleanse. It helps us process and heal those generational wounds. You see? And that's like a divine assignment recognition. Ancestors, they represent spiritual assignments given to people. See, foundational Black Americans, we weren't just survivors. We were given a divine mission to innovate, to resist, to inspire. And remembering them, that reminds you to walk in your purpose. That's what I call the spirit of what? Majara. We have the spirit of Majara. They created a certain spirit that's very unique to us over here. So recognizing the spiritual essence of our foundational Black American ancestors, that transfers to us, and we get that spirit of Majara, we get that strength, and then we start getting the successes. For example, that movie, I'm telling you, that movie, Sinners, is successful because of the spiritual gift of the ancestors. That movie is giving honor and praise in an entertainment way to the ancestors, and the ancestors are returning with great respect and great success with that film. I'm telling you, that's where the success is. Family, with Root Work Deodorant, we're giving honor and praise to our ancestors. People, it's sold out now. It's very successful. We can't keep this stuff on the shelves. You understand? We cannot keep that stuff on the shelves. I'm telling you, when you start tapping into that ancestral energy and giving them props and praises, that's when the success will come. You'll start seeing all types of successes. Your ancestors, man. Our ancestors were phenomenal people on this land. Yeah? And when you respect it, man, it comes back to you. Because what you're doing, you're unlocking those ancestral gifts, man. Every generation carries gifts planted by the prior generation. And see, when you honor your ancestors, you unlock talent, wisdom, resilience, all embedded in your spiritual DNA. There's certain things in your spiritual DNA, and I like to talk about the thing with LL Cool J, and I talked about this before. LL Cool J loves to box. He's a boxer. He loves boxing. On his great album, which is a hip-hop masterpiece, Mama Said Knock You Out, the whole theme was boxing. So he never knew where he got that boxing thing from. Come to find out, his biological great-grandfather, who he never met, he was a boxer. His biological great-great-grandfather was a boxer, and LL never knew this. Never met the man, never knew it. But he said, okay, shit, that's where I got it from. So certain things in that DNA, certain knowledge and skills and things like that gets passed down through our ancestry, you see. And it's important for us to really give props to our foundational Black American ancestors because, see, that's rebellion against erasure. The worst thing we can let happen is to let the memories of our ancestors be erased. That's why the white supremacists, who are vampires, that's why they are so hell-bent on erasing the history of our foundational Black American ancestors. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? This is why they always try to Africanize us. See, we think we're doing something revolutionary by talking about Africa. White people, if you notice, they're like, oh, Africa? Oh, we'll give you a blank check to do an African studies course. Knock yourself out. Oh, if you want to sit here and claim all this stuff in Africa, oh my God, let me set up a class for you. Knock yourself out. They have no problem with that. They're glad that we'll start looking over to Africa. They'd have no problem with that. Now, when we say, hey, wait a minute, this is my homeland here. I'm a foundational Black American. Then they start getting stuck. What, huh? Who, what? No, you're African. No. The jig is up. They start freaking out when we start claiming the lineage here and start tapping into the ancestors here. Yeah? Because see, the thing is, man, when we look at our foundational Black American ancestors, we start reconnecting with that divine timeline. See, ancestors, they're part of the living timeline of the Most High's plan. So to forget them, that's like forgetting a crucial link between the divine and the earthly, you see. And remembering them, that keeps foundational Black Americans on code with spiritual destiny. So that's why that Majara spirit, that connects us That connects us to what's going on here. That connects us to what goes on in the metaphysical world. That's what the movie Sinners was talking about. It was talking about the secular world and the spiritual world, and how our music was somewhat of a vessel in between both worlds. Remember in the movie, when one of the guys started doing that big musical number, when he was basically summoning or conjuring up the past, the future, and the present, all of these music genres, and that's a phenomenal scene in the movie. He tapped into all of the music genres, past, present, and future. And when he did that, he opened up a spiritual realm, and that's why the vampires were trying to get at him. Because that drew the vampires. The vampires wanted that type of power. That drew the vampires to that guitar player. That was a powerful scene. But listen, when we look at our foundational Black American ancestors and give them props and praises, we manifest collective power. The spiritual acknowledgement is just not just personal. It amplifies collective power. See, when millions of foundational Black Americans connect consciously with their ancestors, that creates a massive wave of ancestral energy that pushes the group forward for victories. It gets us on that same page, you see. And it draws other people in. That's why I love New Orleans so much. Like New Orleans, and I was just down there. I love New Orleans. Why do I like New Orleans? New Orleans, they understand ancestral energy and collective unity. See, they do a lot of these ritualistic things in unison all the time down there. So there's a certain energy that they maintain in New Orleans. Like they do the second line every Sunday. Second line is basically people getting together and basically having a celebration of life. You see? You said the electric guitar is an energy contour. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So we got to understand that our spiritual survival, it's phenomenal. Giving props to our foundational Black American ancestors, that's the key. That is the key. And the movie Sinners does a great job in that. Shout out to everybody in here. Y'all give me a retweet again. Yeah, Raphael Sadiq, he scored the movie. He's from Shreveport, Louisiana. Yeah, Raphael Sadiq, man, phenomenal. Raphael Sadiq, and I hope he gets an Oscar. Listen, I talked about this on Twitter. That movie is definitely going to get an Oscar nomination. It's going to get an Oscar nomination. My thing is just what exactly is it going to get it in? My predictions, it will at least get one of the following categories. Best music score, if Raphael Sadiq, yeah, that soundtrack, your soundtrack or music score, either that. Best picture, best original screenplay, best director, Ryan Coogler, best lead actor, male, Michael B. Jordan, because this dude played two characters and did a phenomenal job. Michael B. Jordan did a phenomenal job. Or it's going to get best costume by Ruth E. Carter, because the costumes were absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, supporting actor, our Caribbean brother, Delroy Lindo. He's a phenomenal brother. Delroy Lindo, he's a Caribbean brother. He's a phenomenal actor. So I could see him getting best supporting actor. He did a phenomenal job in the movie. And Brother Delroy has always been very respectful of our culture. You know? Yeah, Raphael Sadiq is from the town. Was he born in Louisiana? I know they came up, him and Tony came up in Oakland. But again, a lot of people from the Bay Area, they have roots in either Louisiana or Mississippi. A lot of them have roots in Louisiana or Mississippi. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really rooting for this film. This film is phenomenal, and it's going to go up even more. The ancestral energy is behind this movie, and that's a phenomenal thing. And I'm very, very proud of our brother Ryan Coogler. He did an excellent job in this film. Now, a lot of people are talking about the film and talking about our music contributions, because in the film they were talking about how blues is basically the basis for all of the other modern music genres, which is true. Blues is the basis of rock and roll, R&B, soul, hip hop, and all of the other genres. That's the basis of it, came from blues. So now you got people out here, ladies and gentlemen, talking about the blues really came from Africa. Let me show you this. Shout out to my brother Black Alpha. Let me play this clip, boy. Here they go. Here they go, ladies and gentlemen. They're talking about blues came from damn Africa. Hold on. Shout out to my brother Black Alpha. Y'all follow Black Alpha, by the way. Okay. Here we go. Here we go.
Good morning. I dreamt that Michael B. Jordan bit me in my sleep. You know how I'm into like spirituality, and I'm very interested by what our ancestors' beliefs here, like the traditional African, or like the traditional African, our ancestors' beliefs here, like the traditional African beliefs, and the
What? The what?
way they presented music, just this magical thing. And in there you saw how blues came from Africa and how blues influenced all type of music, even hip hop and rap music today was just beautiful. And visually I had the chills, like the way the camera was swirling. When I saw the guy, les gars là qui sautent des espèces de concurrents, I had chills because I was like, thank you, representation, representation.
Man.
Africa needs representation in cinema and big films like this.
Okay. Boy gets to we and us when they get to talking French. Boy, they get to talking French. Ma'am, see, this is what I don't like. Because, see, these are the same folks who sit up and tell us we ain't got no culture and all of that. And the only time they'll acknowledge our culture is when they can latch on to it. I don't like that. Family, no disrespect. Blues did not come from no Africa. Blues didn't come from Africa, family. Let me say it again. I'm not being mean to nobody. Blues did not come from Africa. Blues is rooted in post-slavery life, not African tribal traditions. Blues emerged after emancipation, reflecting foundational Black American experiences in sharecropping, racial oppression, poverty, migration, and survival. These were circumstances unique to the American South, not Africa. No disrespect, we're just gonna have to tell the truth. We're not playing this game no more where we just give our culture to everybody and they live off our culture and then tell us we ain't got it. No, we stopped that. The way blues are played, the 12-bar structure, those are American innovations. The 12-chord progressions, that there's no direct equivalent in African traditional music. It's just not there. I'm not being mean, just musically it's not there. There's nothing even remotely close to it. And I'm not being mean. It's just, y'all, you got your stuff. Blues ain't it though. The lyrical themes are unique to foundational Black American culture. Blues lyrics talks about lynchings, chain gangs, migration struggles, Jim Crow laws, heartbreak, poverty, personal survival. So that's tied exclusively to us here. There's nothing about village life. We weren't singing about bushmeat. We weren't singing none of that stuff. We were talking about what was happening to us specifically here. Yeah. See, African music, there's a lot of percussive things, different beats, but it was about communal things. Blues it was personal. It was about how I'm feeling right now. It was about a personal expression, a solo singer basically pointing out and pouring out his intimate individual struggle. it wasn't just collective tribal chanting, because the traditional African music was hum ya, everybody walking around hum na na munade, hum ya na munade. Man, man. But yeah, it wasn't that. Yeah, it was. Somebody said the ashy blues. No disrespect. I'm not trying to disrespect nobody. But yeah, African music was communal and more ritualistic. Blues was individualistic. See, African traditional music, it was basically about ceremonies, tribal dances, chants. It wasn't the same, man. It just wasn't the same. And even just the concept of the blues, look at the name. I'm having the blues. Why am I having the blues? I'm sad because of what I'm going through. So I'm going to heal myself by getting it out of my system and talking about it. I'm going to talk about what makes me blue, what makes me sad, and purge it from my emotions. Yeah. And, blues, it incorporated some Christian spiritual influences from the church, some things from the gospel, the tones and the melodies. That comes from Black American church music. A lot of it was coming out of Negro spirituals coming off those plantations. Gospel hymns, field hollers. Those are unique to foundational Black Americans. Those are unique to us, man. We just can't give y'all credit for that. While we were singing, oh, well, I mean, it was coming from here. That was coming from down here. We weren't we were. It was different. It was different. And our African family, they adopted blues and all that stuff later, after we created it. That's why you don't have an African version of Muddy Waters. You don't have an African version of Ray Charles. You don't have an African version of some of those Delta blues singers. You don't have it. You don't. Blues, that's the fingerprint of foundational Black Americans forged on American soil under American oppression in an American fight for survival and self-expression. It's not a holdover from Africa. See, we got to stop folks from doing that. Everything we do is some kind of holdover from Africa. You see, and I'm not being mean. I'm not trying to, no disrespect. Not being mean, not being disrespectful. But everything we do is not a holdover. Because that's the thing. Everything we do constructively, we have to give credit over to Africa for. Now, when it's negative, we got to own that. Now, we do something negative, well, we're Akatas. Oh, look at those lazy Akatas selling drugs. See, when it's negative, they make sure we delineate. Now, we don't get none of that from them, according to them. We don't get none of the negative stuff from them. Oh, that's all us. Oh, they got a name for us, Akatas. Oh, look at those Akatas. Now, when we do something constructive, well, you got that from a tribe. A tribe used to do that dance. You learn how to do the doggy. That was from a tribe from 2,000 years ago, where you learn how to do the doggy. No. You see, here's the thing. A lot of folks, boy, they got a bug in their ass when we delineate. Now, folks love to delineate from us. They love delineating from us. They love it. They delineate from us. Shout out to Mogul Mays for the super chat. But listen, people delineate from us. They love hollering about their Caribbean, African, all this stuff, which is cool. Now, when we delineate, it's a problem. They got a problem when we delineate. Because the thing is, we as foundational Black Americans, we can claim some things from Africa. We can claim things from Africa. We can claim ancient remnants. We can claim that, which I don't deny. Because a lot of the tethers be like, you FBAs don't claim nothing from Africa. No, I can claim some remnants. Yeah, we got some distant remnants here and there. We got different parts here, little nooks and crannies here. We ain't got no problem with that. We can acknowledge that. I will acknowledge that. See, but that's not the problem. Somebody said, we got muddy waters and they got musty waters. That's messed up. Now, I'm not going to let you say I'm not going to let you say they got musty waters over there. Well, listen. Like I said, the problem isn't that we don't claim things from Africa. We do. We'll claim some things. We'll claim some scant similarities. We have no problem with that. The real issue is, even though we can claim that, they can't claim foundational Black American culture. See, that's what they don't like. That's what, when we say foundational Black American, that cuts them off. That means you can't latch on to what we create here. That's the problem that they have. You see, that's the real issue that they have, that they can't claim our contributions over here. It goes back to the car analogy I did the other day. I talked about how certain luxury cars, like the Lexus, the Bentley, it has certain parts from cheaper cars. The Lexus has parts from the Toyota. The Toyota engine is damn near like the Lexus engine. Toyota owns Lexus, but a Lexus ain't a Toyota. Bentley has some Volkswagen parts. Volkswagen owns Bentley. The Volkswagen company owns Bentley, but a Bentley ain't a Volkswagen. Yeah. So the Bentley car can say, hey, yeah, I got Volkswagen parts. Yeah, I got an alternator, that's a Volkswagen. Yeah, I got spark plugs, that's a Volkswagen. But the Volkswagen can't say, well, I'm like a Bentley. No, you're not. You're just a Volkswagen, and that's okay. You ain't no Bentley. We're kind of the same way, family, as foundational Black Americans. See, foundational Black American culture, that's globally dominant. Music, fashion, slang, politics, resistant movements, and everybody wants a piece of it. See, but when we delineate, see, it's not reciprocal. We cut folks off. We got our own culture that other people can't authentically claim. See, we hold global influence. And foreigners, many of them, they realize that FBA culture is the power. That's the power. And a lot of them resent being locked out when we delineate. See, when we define our lineage, see, that shatters access to a lot of the benefits. See, a lot of the foreigners, they lose unearned benefits when we delineate because we don't benefit. We don't benefit by claiming all of these other groups. Let's be real. What do we benefit from claiming any group? Take your time and think about it. What in the hell do we get as foundational Black Americans out of latching on to any damn body? What do we benefit? What do we get? We literally don't get nothing. There's zero benefits from that. You see? But people, when they start latching on to us, associating themselves with us, there's a whole plethora of benefits. Scholarships, minority funding that we fight for, civil rights that we fought for. The only reason people get civil rights, that's because of foundational Black Americans. White people were not trying to give you no damn civil rights. They wanted white privilege and that's it. We were the ones fighting for all of the civil rights movements. We kicked that shit off. You understand? So when we gatekeep the culture and say, okay, we've delineated and this is who we are and y'all not this, then a lot of the resource faucet gets cut off. And a lot of folks don't like that. You see? Because let's be real, us delineating, that exposed a lot of dependency. See, us delineating, that exposed how much a lot of these non-FBAs depend on the soft power built by foundational Black Americans so that they can navigate in America, you see. And there's a brand superiority conflict. See, foundational Black American, we are the Bentleys of Black folks. We're original, elite, rare. And listen, our African and Caribbean brothers and sisters, you're respected in your own right. You are. But in America, they don't have the same high value brand impact. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. They just don't have the high impact brand impact. Yeah, I talked about that, Corey. I was the one who brought that up, how Haile Selassie set aside land for Foundation of Black Americans in Ethiopia after we helped them fight Italy, and we were volunteering, and we had our brother John C. Robinson go over there and show them how to fly planes and the whole shebang. They wanted to set aside land for us, and the Jamaicans heard about it and ran their ass over there and got it. So yeah, we fight for something, and they start elbowing us the hell out the way. We couldn't even get it because the Jamaicans ran over there. Yeah? But the thing is, listen, a lot of folks lose, when we delineate, they lose the whole default blackness. See, without Foundation of Black American culture, a lot of these foreigners, see, they got to stand on their own black immigrant identity in America. And the reality is that don't carry the same social weight, history, or legitimacy in American society. It doesn't. You being a black immigrant, that don't mean nothing unless you clicked in with us. That's why when we said, hey, all of these people dealing with this immigration, we're going to let them do their thing. And that's why folks start getting rounded up, thrown in immigration services. There was no big outcry. They tried to have little marches here and there, and it was no impact. We've always been the secret sauce. You see? We're not trying to be mean, but damn, we can't sit here and just have people undermine us indefinitely. We got to get some straightening. We needed some straightening. And listen, we had to reject that whole Pan-African fantasy stuff. See, a lot of the foreigners, they wanted automatic black unity when it benefited them economically and socially. See, but Foundation of Black Americans, when we delineate, that destroys that whole illusion of universal blackness that everybody can kind of cash in on. So yeah, we stopped that stuff. We stopped that. And then you got people out here like, listen, nigga, you cannot cut yourself off from the mother. Africa is the mother. You got it from us. Listen, you can get certain things from certain entities and turn it into something completely new and different, which is what we did. That's why I hate whenever we start talking about hip hop and music, somebody would bring up some tribe that had a drum 1,000 years ago. Well, there was a tribe in Senegal that had a drum, and they would rhyme over the drum. And that ain't the same thing. That ain't the same thing. That's not the same thing. Listen, I want y'all to understand. You can get certain elements, and you can also get influences. You can get influences from certain things. And what you do with that, you flip it, and you can turn that into something completely new. We do that all the time. And it's not like the source you got it from. Yeah, even though you can get influences. For example, funk music. Now, we know funk music comes from James Brown. James Brown created funk music. James Brown started to count the music in a different way. He wanted to count and place the emphasis on the one on the beat. And he wanted all of the instruments to be more percussive. That was what funk was. Just basically all the instruments being percussive. So somebody took that, Larry Graham, up in when they had Sly and the Family Stone, he took that to a whole different level because James had Bootsy with him. Bootsy was a young guy out of Ohio. So he taught Bootsy about the one, playing, hitting that first beat, and you can play with it, but come back to that first beat and hit it hard, counting in fours. 1, 2, 3, 4, bam, 2, 3, 4, bam, hit that one hard. So you had people like Sly and the Family Stone who took that concept and did their thing up in the Bay. Larry Graham, who's basically the godfather of modern bass. Larry Graham is two guys who's the godfathers of modern bass guitar playing. What's that? Is it James Jamerson? Is the guy from Motown? Where are my music guys? What's that guy from Motown? Is it James Jamerson? I can't think of his last name. I know his first name is James. He's a bass player on a lot of Motown joints. A lot of people were influenced by him, but a lot of people were influenced by Larry Graham, because Larry Graham said, I'm going to take the bass and play that bitch just like a drum. And he created the whole slap bass concept. He like, boom, bip, bip, boom, bip, bip. He's playing it like a drum. Boom, boom, bip, 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 boom, 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 bip, bip. So that changed the game. That took funk to a whole different level. So Parliament, taking elements from James Brown, taking some stuff from Larry Graham in the late 70s, and remember, Bootsy was a part of Parliament. In 1977, Parliament did a song called Flashlight. They had a guy playing the keyboards named Bernie Worrell. Bernie Worrell had a new keyboard, a keyboard that just came out in the 70s called the Mini Moog. The Mini Moog could play deep, fat bass sounds that could go lower than what a bass guitar can go. And Bootsy and those guys, they were taking elements from James Brown, taking elements from Jimi Hendrix. So Bootsy electrified the bass. He had the space bass that had like this real heavy electrifying sound. So you mix that in with Bernie Worrell, who's a classically trained player. But Bernie Worrell got that Moog. And Bernie wanted to emulate Larry Graham. Bernie Worrell got on the song Flashlight. He played Flashlight the way he thought Larry Graham would play it. That's how they made Flashlight. Flashlight is the first funk song to have a keyboard bass line. Flashlight was the birth of electro funk. The song Flashlight created a whole new genre with what? Elements from Larry Graham, elements from James Brown. Now you listen to Flashlight, it don't sound nothing like Larry Graham, it don't sound nothing like James Brown, just nothing. But they got that, they got those elements and created something completely new. And that electro funk took us all into the 80s. Roger and Zapp came out of Parliament as well. More Bounce to the Ounce, that was produced by Bootsy. A lot of folks don't know that. Bootsy Collins produced More Bounce to the Ounce, so that Parliament family, they gave birth to that electro funk. Now listen to Flashlight, oh my God. Bernie Worrell was showing out on that damn Moog. I want y'all to listen to Flashlight and just listen to the damn bass. Bernie Worrell was showing the hell out on that. He played the whole thing like a damn solo almost. He's going off on that bass. That's why it was so impactful. People like, what the hell is that sound? He was going in. Yeah, and it almost had he almost played it like a gospel organ. You understand? Listen to Flashlight, because he took elements of gospel too. And listen, with Flashlight, they were taking elements from everything. They were taking elements from James Brown, Larry Graham, gospel, the doom 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 boom 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 boom, boom boom, and he wouldn't. And Bernie Worrell was cooking on that. He wasn't even playing the same loop the same way over and over again. He kept. Oh, what happened? Oh, I hate when my thing do this. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Okay, sorry about that. Hold on one second. Having my camera cut off. Y'all bear with me for 1 second. My camera be tripping. You know, my camera does this every now and then, but it's all right. I'm still here with y'all guys. Let me switch my camera out real quick. I'm still here with your family. Hold on. Let me switch my camera. Y'all bear with me 1 second. I'm going to switch to the cheap camera right now, but it's all gravy. All right, there it is. There we go. All right. Sometimes my camera trips out on me, but here I am. Just a little lower resolution, but I'm still here. All right. Sorry about that. Had a little janky blackout. Y'all can still hear me. All right. Had a little janky blackout, but I'm here. I got to go to the cheap camera. Can y'all see me now? We good? We good? We good? All right. All right. But I'm here. I'm back, guys. But like I was saying, I was talking about how people can take certain elements, and then flip it and make something completely new. Going back to Parliament. Listen, I want y'all to listen to Flashlight. Flashlight is a very unique song. Number one, it has that mini moog, and Bernie Worrell is just showing out on it. The song really don't have a verse. If you listen to Flashlight doesn't really have a verse. It's a series of just chants and choruses. Yeah? It doesn't have a verse. Also, some of the chants, one of the chants, that da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 da. You know, that's from a Jewish bar mitzvah. George Clinton, that was from a Jewish bar mitzvah. They were just pulling everything. They were getting stuff from everywhere. It was just chanting all over the place. So George Clinton got that from, he had, when he was growing up, he had one of his friends was a Jewish guy, and he went to the bar mitzvah, and they were doing that chant. And he said he never forgot that chant. So he like, I'm going to put that in the song. So the song is just full of ad-libs, but it slaps. That album with Platinum, it changed the whole game. Oh, that was one of my favorite songs when I was a kid because it was just all over the place. But the point is, it borrowed from so many different elements and created something completely new that was unlike some of the things it borrowed from. See, and that's our history, family. That's our history. We have a very unique culture. Yeah, we can point to some African remnants here and there, but we created something completely new with it. We created something very unique, something innovative, and something that's exclusive, and that's FBA culture. You see? Because see, a lot of times, man, a lot of people, they play this game where when we run around here talking about African American, people would use that to stun on us. You know what I'm saying? Because people would sit here and say, well, you niggas are not the real Africans. I'm better because I'm a real African from Ghana. I'm real African from Uganda. So they would play the whole, we're the pure African and you want to be like us because we're running around. They tricked us into running around talking about African American. And that was a mistake. You understand? Because, yeah, we're not continental Africans. We're not continental Africans. And when we stop claiming continental African identity, in their eyes, that devalued their pure African narrative. You understand? That's why they hate when we delineate. That's why a lot of them hate the fact that we delineate, because now we've devalued to them their African narrative, because it only had value when it was connected to us. And they only had value when they can say, well, you are not the real African. When we say, you know what? You're right. You're right. We agree with you. Wait, nigga. I didn't, wait, hold on now, nigga. Hold on. You see? Well, no. Because, see, we were the cultural engine. We were the global engine of Black cool, Black resistance, Black excellence. You see, that was powered by Foundational Black American. See, without Foundational Black American, that pure African identity alone, it just didn't carry the same magnetism, the same trend setting, the same cultural leadership. It just didn't. And when you lost that cosign from the world's most influential Black group, that's a problem. See, Foundational Black American, see, we boosted the African identity. Yeah? And when we start pulling back, a lot of people just lost that unearned privilege and prestige by proximity. Yeah? See, Foundational Black Americans, see, we exposed a lot of the instability with those cultures. Because, see, without us, because we've been propping folks up, we've been the ones propping people up, speaking highly on their culture, doing films to give them shine and praise on their cultures that many of them abandoned. And Now, when we said, okay, we'll let you do your own thing, we'll let you hold your own nuts, us delineating, that forces people to look honestly at like Africa's political, economic, and social instability. And they won't be able to blame us, you see. Now, all the white supremacists who sat online showing memes of people getting camel urine and goat urine on their hair, we're like, oh, you can post that all day. That ain't us. That ain't us. That's your homie Myron Gaines. That's not us. You see? And the thing is, man, these other groups, there's no global cultural dominance. You know, Africa, beautiful place. Africa is a beautiful place. I'm not crapping on Africa. Africa is a beautiful place. But there has not been a global cultural movement coming out of Africa comparable to foundational Black American movements. There's no civil rights movement, no hip hop movement, no jazz. You know, without foundational Black Americans, the cultural output is recognized but not revered in the same way. And again, I'm not trying to beat up on Africa, because we got riders over there. We do have some cool brothers and sisters over there. We do. But we have our thing here. We don't have to give up our lineage and latch on to anything. We have cultural richness here that we can always tap into, and we're doing that now. And we suggest that people tap in to their cultural richness, meaning you create it. That means you start fighting. Y'all start putting in some work. Y'all start going up against the powers that be. Create the culture. You create the culture by fighting and standing up for your culture, standing up for your lineage, standing up for your ancestors. You see? So that's what that's about. It's all love. This is all love, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to we in here heavy. Shout out to everybody in here. We're in here heavy. Well, let me get out of here because I am going to do a Twitter space this evening, ladies and gentlemen. So y'all need to follow me on my Twitter. Follow my Twitter space, ladies and gentlemen. Follow my Twitter space. Follow me on Twitter at Tariq Nasheed. That's me on Twitter. Y'all follow me. Everybody go to hiddenhistorymuseum.com. You want to learn some more history, especially with your kids. Get this book here, Hidden Heroes from A to Z. Get this book here, Hidden Heroes from A to Z. You understand? And also make a contribution to the Hidden History Museum. We need everybody to make a contribution to the Hidden History Museum. That's how we keep the doors open for everybody to come on through. All right, family, go to rootworkstyle.com. Get your Rootwork deodorant. I'm up out of here, family.